A warm welcome to all our viewers. I'm your host Pratiksha Mishra and you're watching another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. India's ties with the Philippines, a vital Southeast Asian partner, are gaining momentum as both nations seek to bolster regional stability, maritime cooperation and counter China's growing assertiveness. Rooted in India's Act East policy, the partnership is expanding across defense, trade and strategic connectivity. In a significant move, New Delhi recently welcomed Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., underscoring a shared vision for a secure Indo-Pacific, enhanced naval collaboration and a future of mutual growth.
Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. received a ceremonial guard of honor in New Delhi on his first visit to India since taking office in 2022. His trip comes amid rising tensions between Manila and Beijing over the South China Sea, where both nations have competing territorial claims. A key highlight of the visit was the push to deepen maritime cooperation and expand ties in defense, pharmaceuticals, and agriculture. Notably, the Indian and Philippine navies recently held their first joint sail in the South China Sea, signaling a strengthening strategic partnership. Since late 2023, the Philippines has ramped up maritime collaborations with global allies to counter China's assertiveness in the contested waters. During a bilateral meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi called the Philippines an important partner in India's Act East policy and discussed regional and global issues with President Marcos, hinting at India's position on the maritime disputes.
इंडो-पैसिफिक क्षेत्र में शांति, सुरक्षा, समृद्धि और रूल बेस्ड ऑर्डर के लिए हम प्रतिबद्ध हैं। हम अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कानूनों के अनुरूप फ्रीडम ऑफ नेविगेशन का समर्थन करते हैं। अगले वर्ष फिलीपींस आसियान की अध्यक्षता करेगा। इसकी सफलता के लिए हम पूरा सहयोग देंगे।
Addressing the media alongside Prime Minister Modi, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. underscored the enduring economic partnership between India and the Philippines. He emphasized the need to elevate bilateral trade, which stood at over $3 billion last year, and announced plans to fast-track a preferential trade agreement between the two nations.
The economic sphere has been a steady engine driving our ties for 7+ decades. True to our strategic partnership, Prime Minister Modi and I have charged our economic teams to shepherd our commerce, now at the $3.3 billion in the last year, towards a continued upward trajectory and expanded baskets of goods. To this end, we have decided to expedite the work that we are doing to forge a bilateral preferential trade agreement.
India in recent years has significantly strengthened its ties with Southeast Asian nations, driven by its Act East policy and a shared interest in regional stability and economic growth. The visit of Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has further reinforced this momentum. His engagements in New Delhi, particularly around maritime cooperation and trade, reflect a growing strategic alignment between the two countries, especially amid rising tensions in the South China Sea and the need for diversified regional partnerships.
Moving on. Traders in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan are protesting against what they call unconstitutional federal taxation at the Sost dry port. Despite a court ruling declaring such taxes illegal in the region, authorities continue to impose them, sparking anger amongst the business community. The ongoing enforcement has disrupted trade and placed financial strain on local businesses. Protests have intensified with support from civil society groups demanding justice and constitutional clarity. We bring you this report.
Traders in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan have intensified protests at the Sost dry port over customs delays and illegal federal taxes, defying a court ruling exempting the region from such levies. They accuse authorities of ignoring the court verdict, disrupting trade, and using arbitrary detentions to suppress their peaceful protest for constitutional rights. As frustration grows, they are calling for urgent intervention, warning that ongoing neglect could destabilize the region and threaten cross-border commerce under the framework of CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor.
3 दिन पहले रात को हमें बगैर किसी वारंट के घर पर चारदीवारी को पामाल करते हुए पुलिस फोर्स ने हमें उठाया बगैर किसी मकसद का। उनका मकसद ये था कि जो ताजिर बरदरी का एक एहतजाज अपने हुकूक़ के लिए होने जा रहा था उसको नाकाम करने के लिए एक उनकी साजिश थी। तो उसके बाद हमारी जो तहरीक है इसका मकसद ये है कि हमें जो हुकूक़ है कस्टम के अंदर, इनकम टैक्स, सेल्स टैक्स और दूसरे जो कस्टम ड्यूटी के अलावा जितने टैक्सेस हमारे ऊपर वो लागू नहीं होते हैं, चूँकि हम आईनी तौर पे पाकिस्तान के सूबे नहीं हैं।
The traders maintain that their protest is a peaceful and lawful assertion of constitutional rights. They urge authorities to engage in meaningful dialogue, cautioning that any further crackdown could worsen tensions in an already volatile region.
गिलगित बल्तिस्तान नॉन टेरिफ एरिया है। FBR अपना बंदोबस्त था कोर्ट के मुकाम पे करे, लेकिन अलमिया ये है कि अब तक उस पर अमल दरामद नहीं हुआ है। यहाँ जितने भी ताजिर बैठे हैं ये आइन की बालादस्ती चाहते हैं, ये चाहते हैं आइन ने जो हमें हुकूक दिए हैं उनके ऊपर फौरन अमल दरामद हो।
With no response from authorities and public frustration deepening, protesters warn that failure to address their legitimate grievances could spark a broader crisis, one that transcends economic hardship and risks igniting wider political and social unrest in Gilgit-Baltistan.
And now it's time for Asia This Week, bringing you the most compelling stories from across the continent.
On August 6, Japan held a memorial ceremony to mark 80 years since the US dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima during World War II. Around 55,000 people, including guests from 120 countries and regions, gathered for the event. At 8:15 am, the exact time the bomb was dropped, they observed a moment of silence to honor the victims. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba laid a wreath at the send-off and called on all nations to work towards nuclear disarmament. The uranium bomb killed about 78,000 people instantly, and by the end of 1945, around 140,000 had died due to the blast and radiation. A second atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki by the US on August 9. More and more Iraqis are using solar energy to deal with power shortages. Since the 2003 US-led invasion, Iraq has faced problems with its electricity supply due to poor investment and management. High electricity bill pushed people like Mosul farmer Abdullah Al-Ali to switch to solar panel. In 2 years, his bill dropped and his farm added more panels. In cities, people installed panels on flat rooftops to get the most energy, helping them avoid using expensive diesel generators. People like Hassan Tahir now rely on solar power. The government plans to use solar energy to reduce the gap between power supply and demand and to lower pollution. To help, the central bank offers low interest loan for buying solar panels. Ahead of the 60th UN Human Rights Council session, Tamil political parties and civil groups in Sri Lanka wrote to Human Rights Chief Volker Turk urging stronger action for justice. They said the UN failed to protect Tamils during the civil war and has done little since it ended in 2009. The letter, led by Tamil leader Gajen Ponnabalam, asked the UN to adopt a resolution recognizing that no real justice has been delivered in 16 years. They want a clear timeline for action, oppose giving the Sri Lankan government more time, and call for international oversight of mass graves and burial sites. The letter also raises concern about militarization, land grabs, and harsh laws. Turk acknowledged this concern and promised action.
Thousands of student activists marched through Dhaka to commemorate the first anniversary of the 2024 uprising that led to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's resignation after 15 years in power. What began as protest over job quota reforms evolved into a mass movement against government control, claiming over 1,000 lives. The movement spurred new political forces like the youth-backed National Citizen Party, marking a pivotal chapter in Bangladesh's democratic struggle. Take a look.
As thousands took to the streets on August 5 to mark the first anniversary of the 2024 student protests, the mood in Dhaka was one of both reflection and rising uncertainty. While the events of last year are remembered for their intensity and youthful fervor, many now question whether Bangladesh is truly on a path towards progress or deeper instability. The 2024 protests, which began over the contentious government job quota system, rapidly spiraled into nationwide unrest. The movement, heavily driven by student groups and opposition-backed civil society figures, turned violent in several parts of the country. Official estimates confirmed over 1,000 deaths, many of them students, raising concerns about how the movement was being orchestrated and whether vested political interests had hijacked what began as a reform-focused demand. Official estimates confirmed over 1,000 deaths, many of them students, raising concerns about how the movement was being orchestrated and whether vested political interests had hijacked what began as a reform-focused demand.
গত বছর জুলাইয়ের 21 তারিখ রাতে আমার নিজস্ব ভবন থেকে মানে আমাদের নিজস্ব মেস থেকে স্বৈরাচার শেখ হাসিনার তৎকালীন সময়ের ফ্যাসিস্ট প্রশাসন বাহিনী আমাদেরকে গ্রেপ্তার করে এবং আমাদের দীর্ঘ সময়টা আমাদের অনেকটা প্রায় 2024 সালের 6 আগস্ট রাতে পর্যন্ত আমাদের জেলে কাটাতে হয় এবং সেই সময়টাতে আসলে 5 আগস্ট যে ঘটনাগুলো ঘটেছিল এগুলো আমি দেখতে পারি নাই এবং বিজয়টা দেখতে পারি নাই আর সেটা আমি আজকে এখানে স্মরণ করতেছি যে যখন সেটা জেলে থাকার কারণে দেখতে পারি নাই আজকে এসে সেই উদযাপনটা আমি উপভোগ করতেছি এখানে
The 2024 protests left a profound impact on Bangladesh's political landscape. While the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's long tenure saw major infrastructure growth and international engagement, critics accused her government of suppressing dissent. Supporters, however, argue that her departure was driven more by a shifting political narrative than by any collapse in governance. Her exit paved the way for an interim administration promising reform and reconciliation, but not all are convicted of its progress.
দ্বিমত ছিল, বিরোধী পক্ষ ছিল, তাদের দমন পীড়ন করা হতো। এর মধ্যে দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে বাংলাদেশের আপামর জনতা, আপনি দেখতে পাবেন যে এখানে হেফাজত, এখানে ছাত্র শিবির, এখানে বিপ্লবী ছাত্র পরিষদ তাদের কর্মসূচি পালন করতেছে। এই যে সকল মানুষ যে তার যে দীর্ঘদিন পর যে স্বাধীনভাবে তার মতো করে যে বিজয় দিবস পালন করতে পারতেছে, তাদের যে কোনো আচার অনুষ্ঠান পালন করতে পারতেছে, এটা দেখে খুবই ভালো লাগতেছে।
The newly emerged National Citizen Party, hailed by some as a symbol of youth-led change, has so far struggled to present a cohesive national agenda. Despite its popularity among urban youth, its inexperience in governance has become increasingly evident. Supporters of Sheikh Hasina gathered separately across several districts, holding candlelight vigils and demanding her return. Many argue that her legacy, especially in lifting millions out of poverty, advancing women's rights, and boosting international ties, has been unfairly overshadowed by the political chaos of the past year.
মানুষ যে স্বৈরাচারের বিপক্ষে একেবারে ঐক্যবদ্ধ হয়ে নেমেছিল সেটাই এই যে এই বছরের 5 আগস্টে আমাদের সবাইকে স্মরণ করিয়ে দিচ্ছে। আসলে মানুষ চায় যে এরকম স্বৈরাচার আর কখনোই যেন পরবর্তী যারা সরকারে আসবে, বর্তমানে যারা আছে তাদের কারোর মধ্যে যেন এই ধরনের স্বৈরাচারী মনোভাব বা প্রভাব না দেখা যায়।
1 year after the uprising, Bangladesh finds itself at a crossroads. The call for justice, equity, and democratic reform remain loud, but so do questions about leadership, direction, and national unity. As the country moves forward, the memory of both the upheaval and the legacy it replaced continues to shape public discourse.
Kolkata, with its colonial charm and vibrant cultural tapestry, is celebrated not only for its historic landmarks but also for its irresistible Bengali sweets. From the syrup-soaked rasgulla to the delicate sandesh and velvety mishti doi, these iconic confections embody the city's rich culinary heritage and continue to enchant dessert lovers worldwide. My colleague Harshit Bhatia recently journeyed through the city of joy, sampling its legendary sweets and exploring its beloved bakeries.
From the iconic rasgulla, which melted the hearts of the millions, to the delicate sandesh, which embraces elegance. Bengali sweets are more than just desserts, they're a tradition, emotion and celebration on the plate. Right now, I'm standing at the heart of the Kolkata, where the aroma of sugar, ghee and heritage lingers in the air. In this journey, we are not just tasting sweets, we are unwrapping history, craftsmanship and Bengali pride that binds it all together. Cholun shuru kori e rongin mishti yatra.
Kolkata, a city of revolutionaries, poets and passionate food lovers. Here, sweets aren't just an after-meal indulgence. They are a way of life, a symbol of celebration and a marker of identity. Be it Durga Puja, a wedding or a casual afternoon gathering, Bengali sweets like rasgulla, sandesh and mishti doi are always at the heart of the moment. Their journey begins not just in kitchens but in culture, a legacy steeped in history and tradition. At the heart of this sweet legacy stands Balaram Mulik and Radharaman Mulik, not just a sweet shop but a cherished Kolkata institution. Established in 1885, this iconic family-run business has evolved with time, blending innovation with tradition. From artisanal fusion sandesh to time-honored classics, every bite carries a story of generations of heritage and of Kolkata's unshakable love for all things mishti.
Rasgulla is so very famous all over the world, in the country. So people know that Calcutta has the best rasgulla, best mithai. And because Bengali mithai is a very subtle taste, is very subtle, it is light and is healthy. Many times doctors suggest to have hot rasgulla when you are not well, when you are not doing well, you are sick, because it is protein. Other countries like Dubai and Singapore accepted our sweets and exports were happening there.
Across the city, Kamdhenu Sweets has earned a special place in the hearts and taste buds of Kolkatans. Famous for its rich, juicy rasgullas and the much-loved baked rasgulla, the shop beautifully captures the spirit of evolving Bengali confectionery rooted in tradition yet unafraid to innovate. With every bite, Kamdhenu offers a taste of nostalgia wrapped in modern flair, proving that in Kolkata, sweets are as dynamic as the city itself.
Now we have 16 outlets all over Kolkata, and we also export sweets to different states as well as outside of the country, like USA, Australia. There are many Bengali people staying over there, so they like our sweets. We Bengalis, what we make sandesh. That's on the lesser side of sweet, like the sugar content is very less. So that's what we specialize in. History of rasgulla dates back to more than 100 years back. Our rasgulla is mainly on the softer side. Like if you go outside of Kolkata, it will be, the texture is very spongy. The history is like someone dropped a ball of cottage cheese on a sugar syrup, and then what the item came out, it came out to be rasgulla, and then that is history.
Inside both factories, the rhythm is constant, kneading china, boiling rasgullas, shaping sandesh, a space where precision meets passion. Skilled chefs, many with decades of experience, handcraft each sweet with care. Making Bengali sweets requires finesse, patience and a deep-rooted sense of tradition. These are not just desserts, they are handcrafted labors of love, rich in expertise and steeped in history.
বেগ রসগোল্লাটা কোনো জায়গায় এখনো পর্যন্ত তৈরি হয়নি। এই প্রথম মানে আমাদের যে অনার আছেন মিস্টার সুদীপ মল্লিক, উনি বেগ রসগোল্লা এখানে নতুন মানে তৈরি করেছেন। বেগ রসগোল্লাটা খুব ফেমাস এখানে। বাঙালিদের মধ্যে মিষ্টিটা খুব প্রচলিত, মানে মিষ্টিটা আমাদের সব কিছু কাজেই আমাদের মিষ্টিটা আমাদের খুব লাগে। মিষ্টিটা হচ্ছে শুভ আমাদের পক্ষে। আমাদের মিষ্টি আমরা খাই, আমরা খেতে ভালোবাসি।
From festivals to family milestones, Bengali sweets sweeten every celebration. Even as modern patisseries emerge, heritage brands continue to thrive, proving that tradition still holds strong in today's changing world.
20 और 25 इयर्स हो गए खाते हुए। अच्छी लगती है, सभी अच्छे हैं। यहाँ के रसगुल्ला है, वो काचा गुल्ला है, और यहाँ पे जो बेक्ड मिहिदाना बोलते हैं वो भी अच्छे हैं। सभी अच्छे हैं, यहाँ पे क्वालिटी बहुत अच्छे है।
In Kolkata, every sweet tells a story of culture, celebration and timeless craftsmanship. As the city evolves, its love for mishti remains unchanged, a delicious reminder that tradition, when savored, never goes out of style.
Together, these timeless treats offer a sweet glimpse into Kolkata's soul, where every bite tells a story of tradition, celebration and love. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Till then, goodbye and take care.